هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العظيم. الفاتحة. السلام عليكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا الراحمين. إن الحمد لله ونحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. We talked about that this as 9 we talked about that this as 9 ayah, 33 words and 8 high frequency words. High frequency words are those words that are occurring most often in the Quran, and we can associate with some of the ayahs, and that's how we're trying to see that whether it would increase our vocabulary, inshallah. We went through Humaja extensively, and then Jama'ah, Alladhi Jama'ah Ma'ala, we know the wealth. We talked about what Mala stands and what are the derivatives and what are the occurrences of this, what in different places. Addada, counting, we talked about all those things. Yahsaba, Hasab, Hisab, counting also. And Inna Ma'alahu Akhlada, Khalidina Fiha, and those are the, like, that is going to last forever. So those words we went through. So this morning we go a couple of remaining words, inshallah. We talked about last week. We talked about Adada, and also we went through Khalada. And today on ayah number 4, Kallai we went with the Imbatana Hutama. Imbatana Nabada. Nabada is having something trash that you throw away. And Hutama, that we also, this is the crusher. That is one of the name of the hellfire. We went through these words. And like the next ayah, Narullahi Muqada. Nar, we know about the Nar. Nar occurs in 190 times in the Quran. And we know from Surah Masad also, Sayasla Nar and Datalahab. We also already know that what that Nar means. This is the fire. Muqada is coming from the root word wa, qaf, dal. And this is like you set fire, you light up, you kindle. This is the meaning of the muqada, waqada. And it comes in different form. It comes only 11 times in the Quran. And some of the places that in terms of the contextual meaning, that under what circumstances this has been revealed. And this kindle has been used, like, for example, enemy preparing for war, like in Surah Ma'idah, ayah 64. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَلْيَقْضَى إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ كُلَّمَا أَوْقَدُوا. This is the root word. كُلَّمَا أَوْقَدُوا نَارًا لِلْحَرْبِ أطفأها أطفأ الله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا والله لا يحب المفسدين. So يحب Habib, love, mufsidin fasada, corruption they do. But from the beginning, well Bagda, Bagda is hatred. Bagda ila yawm al qiyamah. We know the yawm al qiyamah is those people those tired among people through hostility or hatred in the yawm al qiyamah until the day of judgment. We have stared among the hostility and hatred until the day of judgment. You have the hatred until the day of judgment. Then what? Kullama, every time, awqad. Awqad is the root word that we are going through the Sumaja. That whenever they kindle the fire, they lit the fire, naran lil harbi. Harbi is the word. So whenever they kindle fire in the word, atfa'aha Allah puts it down. وَيَسْعَوْنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادًا. And they strive, sa'a is the striving. They strive to spread fasada. Fasad, we know the word fasada is the corruption, who spread corruption in the land. And Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. So this wakada, this root word here we see in Surah Hamadah, Narullahi Muqtada, right? Muqtada is the fire of Allah, that is fuel. And this is constantly ignited, never dies down. That's what this fire is in this case. Unlike here, if you have fire, in our case, even when we use the fire, that it has like the lifespan. Like this, it will stay, but it will not stay forever. So, but this fire, the Muqadda is talking about, this is going to last forever. And this is the precisely tailored punishment on the day of Qiyamah. So this Muqadda comes also in terms of the light, kindling a lamp. That is, we know in Surah Nur, it talks about Allah, Nuru Samawati wal Ardi, that ayah. And in that ayah, it particularly talks about yukhadu min shajaratin mubarakatin. And if you go through that ayah, then it will see that in it, that lit from the oil of the blessed will lead to yukhadu min shajarat. Shajarat is the tree. Mubarak, that is blessed tree, Zaituna. So here the word yuqadu is used here to lit up that wisdom, that fire. And also in the fuel of the hellfire is also in Baqarah, Surah Baqarah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. So this is the فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا. This is the challenge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting in this Surah Baqarah in the very beginning. But if you are unable to do it, لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا, we talked about this word many times. If you are unable to do it, وَلَنْ تَفْعَلُوا, you will never be able to do it. فَاتَّقُوا, taqwa, that fear, be aware of Nara. Nara is one of the words. Be aware of the root of the fire. Allati waquduha. And then the fear the fire fuel with what? What is the source of that? What is that fuel? Waquduha nas wal hijara. And that protect us from that is the people and the stones, they are the source of that ignition, the fuel, and with that kafir. So we see that Waqada, particularly in this instance in Surah Humaja, Narullahi Muqadda, This is some constantly ignited ignition, but it could be hellfire, it could be kindling a fire, and those type of things. So the next ayat we go, Allati tattali'u ala al-afida. Tala ash-shams, you know the tala we talked about, the rising, right? But tattala, it is something, it is penetrating, it is just struggling to grow. So here, allati tattala ala al-afida. Afada is one of the words we know about sadr, many times Quran, it comes, alam nashrah laka sadrak, or in Surah, or in Surah, Alam Nashrah Laka Sadra is one that we know that the Sadr is there, or Qalb is there. Now we see the Fuad. There are three different forms, but it is the same that we talk about, that chest and the heart and those type of things. But under what circumstances, what context these are being used, if you look at on that thing, then we will go inshallah. But before we go to Tala it is the ascent, the arrival. But Pulu is the action of emergence, what is happening, particularly the Tulu Shamsa. Ittala is the climbing, that the word used in this Umaja. And Mutla is a place, a specific point of origin or beginning. So, like in Quran, if you look at the different places where this is Mutla or Tala or Pulu or Atta, then we can refer to, if we know Surah Kahf, then we can relate it to the where this word comes. Like Surah Kahf ayah 19, Hatta ida balaga matli ash-shamsi wajadaha tatlu'u ala qaumin lam naj'al lahum min duniha sitra. This is the last part of the out of four stories that Zulkarnain is talking about, that the journey of Zulkarnain, that he is talking about. Hatta ida balaga matla. This is the root word in our case. Until he reached the rising point of the sun. Then what happened? Wajadaha tat'u. Then he found it rising on a peak. Tatlu ala qaumi. Qaum is the people, rising on the people. Lam naj'al lahum min duniha satra. Satra, you know the satra you use. So that is how that there is no shelter here from it. In this case. So the Tala is also used Salam hiya hatla matla al-fajr. That is in Surah Qadr. We know this. That is how we can relate to Tala is matla al-fajr, and until peace is until in Surah Qadr. The peace is until the Salam hatta until matla al-fajr, the rising of the dawn. So gaining of knowledge and insight is also at-tala. In Surah Maryam, it talks about ayah 78. At-tala al-ghayba amit-takhada inda rahmani ahda. This is the challenging an individual's claim to certain knowledge of unseen about that challenging what they know about the unseen, the ghaib. So here the meaning at-tala. So at-tala al-ghaiba. So here this is this is the question. Has he looked into at-tala, the unseen? At-tala, what is looked at? The ghaib. Have they looked at the unseen? Or at-takada, or has taken in the rahman hada, or has he taken a covenant? So here the root word is at-tala. At-tala is here in this case, this is like going up. So last part we'll go quickly inshallah, and then we will end today. So in this ayah, Atlati tattala ala al-afida, fu'ad, and we talked about fu'ad. This is one form of the heart. But this is fa, alif, Hamza. This is related to the deepest internal part of person's being, the heart, specifically heart or mind. And in terms of an analogy, I was just trying to look at something from the, in terms of the different occurrences of these three words, the Sadr, Gulf, and Fuad. Sadr, in terms, if you consider it as an analogy, like a sort of fortress, protecting the spiritual life. If you look at it, that it is a fortress we're protecting the spiritual life. So the first part, the Sadr is the chest, the outer, the castle, the walls, what the Sadr is. And like for example, we talked about Alam Nashrah Lak Sadraka, that is the word. Did we not expand for you your Sadr? So a person feels relief when their Sadr is expanded to accept truth. So this outer container, the receptacle that we're talking about, it can be opened for guidance or constricted by doubt. So that's what the outer castle. If we consider it as an analogy like an inner fortress of a man. So outside is the Sadr, and that can be open for guidance or it can be constricted by doubt. So in Nas, waswas, Sudur and Nas, ayah 5, it talks about waswas al-khannas. Shadr waswas al-khannas alladhi waswisu fi sudurin nas. The whispers, we can relate it quickly, that easily, your sudur here, that whispers into the breasts of mankind, that is the outer part. Now, qalb is the intellect or the faith center. This is the commander section. We have a fortress. Outside is the castle or gate or entry, and inside is the commander's chamber, and that is the qalb. And this is the place, the primary seat of aql, iman, and niyah. And this is where the reasoning and the belief reside. It can turn toward truth or an error. So that is the center of that's the qalb. So this is in Surah Al-Hajj, ayah 46. But the blindness is the blindness of the qalb, which are in the breast. So this is Al-Hajj, like for example, afalam yasiru fil ardi fatakuna lahum qulubun yaqiluna biha aw adanun yasma'una biha fa innaha la ta'mal absar walakinna ta'lamu qulubul lati fis sudur. So you see that here, have they not traveled through the land, so their hearts may reason. So here we see the heart is the center. It has the capacity to do reason. And then the last part, it is the hearts and the chest that grow blind. So that is the place. So we see that the second part, the commander's chamber that we talk about, this is the seat for aql, faith, and niyah. And this is the place that can turn to truth or error. And the true vision is in the qalb's understanding. The last part is the fuad. This is the intense part. This happens, intense perception. This is like the active consciousness in this analogy. We have the castle, inside we have the commander's chamber, and then outside is the watchtower or something. That is fuad. And hers, this is the intense perception and passionate awareness. It is the qalb in a state of when it is observing something, emotion of high alert consciousness. So this is like, for example, in Surah Isra, ayah 36, it talks about وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ. This is what fu'ad. This is the root word in this case. Kullu ulaika kana anhum mas'ula. So here you see that according to here it is the translation from the Quran.com. Do not follow what you have. So wala taqfu ma laysa laka bihi ilmu. Don't follow this thing that you have not done knowledge. Do not follow what you have not sure about knowledge of. But indeed all will be called to account for their hearing, sight, and intellect. That is the fu'ad here. So fu'ad, it could be fu'ad or it could be pluralis afida, that is the heart. But main thing we see that these are the three parts that in used qalb and fu'ad. Fu'ad is the intense state, and but the qalb is the center where the intellect and faith and that emerges from it, and it takes turns people that can turn towards truth or error. But fu'ad is the very intense. It is like a fire, and that term is used in this case. Like for example, now why the fu'ad? Tattalaw, it is the punishment in the heart, because we talked about the humaja and dumaja. And humaja and dumaja, the slandering, all those type, belittling people or condescending or those type of things. This actually comes from the heart. And so the punishment is on the heart. That's what going to the fu'ad. So subhanAllah, if may Allah give us that understanding. This is every part, every word in this Quran is so precise and so meaningful and so deep that one can go over, we can never, it is an endless journey. So may Allah, forgive me for shortcoming, and make it easy for us to understand and to comprehend and apply it in our daily life. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. ربي إني لما أنزلت علي من خير فقير. رب انصرنا على القوم المفسدين. ربنا إننا آمنا فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خيرا.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Too long.
But the settings here is excellent here. The way that you have here, it's very good. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. But we forgive him this time because I had a good setting here. Yeah, it's good. He will work. You work on it.